Well, it's Franco Fridays. I'm back, and courtesy of Severin Films, we've got this double feature that came out, uh, Rafifi, and then Death Whistles the Blues. And I'm going to cover Death Whistles the Blues today. Crime noir double feature from our buddy Jess Franco, shot in black and white. Great films. I'm going to just cover Death. I'm just going to cover Death Whistles the Blues today. This was released in 1964, starring Georges Rollin, who apparently, unfortunately, died right after this making of this film of cancer. Terrible. He used to. He actually was uh, film critic, or he was picking films for Cannes in 1947, which is interesting. George Rollins plays a guy named Raddick, and Raddick is a had been a arms smuggler and drug dealer, smuggling penicillin, all kinds of crap like that. But his past is coming back to haunt him in the form of some partners that he's done wrong. One went to prison, and the other, as in the opening of the film, the other was killed by cops on a bungled arms deal. That's how the film opens. And he's looking over his shoulder quite a bit. Of course, now he's rich. He's living in Jamaica, and he's trying to figure out who it is that's hunting him down and trying to bump them off before they get to him. Beautiful film, stylish, gorgeous, shot in black and white. Franco's use of camera work and his use of lighting and imagery, shadows, is unparalleled. You could pick any other noir director, including Orson Welles, by the way, um, and I think this film would stand up to any of those. It's a great piece of crime noir by Jess Franco, with some really standout action sequences. Quick cut editing in this, which is highly unusual for a Franco film. We're all used to the Franco films where they've got this hypnotic, long, slow, deliberate shots. Some are in focus, some are not in focus. Um, this is the antithesis of that. And if I didn't tell you this was a Franco film, you probably wouldn't even realize it just by watching it without knowing who the director was. It's that good, and it's a great example of the talent of Jess Franco. Uh, he's definitely not a one dimensional director at all. George Rollins. The only problem with this film, and I watched it twice. The only problem with this film is that George Rollins really isn't a very persuasive bad guy. He just doesn't, and he certainly is not the type of guy that can carry a 90 minute. This is film actually is a brisk 81 minutes, but he just isn't solid enough to be a primary protagonist and carry a film for that length of time. Unfortunately, maybe it's him, maybe it's the script. I don't know what it is, but he just doesn't come across as a very good baddie. And subsequent to that, so you don't, at the end of the day, as great as this film is and how beautiful it is to look at, how stylish it is with the great camera work and use of lighting, you don't really care about what happens to George's Rollins. He doesn't grab you um, in a way that either makes you hate him or love him or worry about him. And so once again, we've got a situation where we've got characters we just don't care about, and that really kind of deflates the film. I'm still giving this an 8 out of 10. I think this would have been a 10 out of 10 if we'd have had a really good villain. And interestingly enough, apparently Howard Vernon, which is not going to come as a surprise to Franco fans, Howard Vernon was supposed to be the lead in this, and he was otherwise occupied. But if he'd have been there, I think we'd have had a 10 out of 10 on our hands for this Jess Franco, because you can just look at Howard Vernon and he oozes mischief. Um, but again, at the end of the day, that's my only negative critique of this film. some of the sequences in here towards the end where this guy's getting hunted by Radix guys you're sending out trying to stop this guy from hunting him. They're shot in alleys, and I mean, there's a great quick cut action sequence in here that will just blow your mind. I mean, great stuff. In fact, this was so impressive a film that even Orson Welles, when he saw it, said, I want Jess Franco to help me with Chimes of, what was it, 1965, Chimes of Midnight, at Midnight, a production he was doing. So even Orson Welles was impressed with this and the quality of the film. Highly recommend this release. Highly recommend you check out Death Whistles, The Blues. There's a great opening. As with every Franco film, you cannot not have a nightclub scene. We got 3 or 4 in here, nightclub scenes where some great jazz music is being played. In fact, Franco has a cameo as a saxophone player in this one. Very, very young, clean cut Jess Franco playing the sax. Good stuff. Good stuff. A lot of the actors from this, with the exception of George's Rollin, is actors that were in Orlock, and so particularly the female leads in this. So you're going to see some faces that you've seen before in Franco films. Um, Great. I just loved it. I was so impressed with this film. 8 out of 10. I'm gonna do Rafifi next week. So thanks to Severin, we've got quite a bit of Franco Fridays coming up, uh, and as well as there's some other Franco titles that was released and recently by Severin that I've picked up that I'm gonna go through. And so we've got a few weeks of some good Franco stuff to talk about. But if you've seen this film or you have the Blu-ray and you want to leave some comments below, I'll respond. Appreciate you watching. Thanks.